Tonight, only on 12 News, an Arizona couple handcuffed and taken out of their home earlier this year as troopers took their guns away.
And those guns eventually returned and no charges were filed. 12 News journalist Sean Rice is in studio tonight to explain why the couple thinks this search warrant never should have been served. Sean?
Yeah, Trim and Troy, Quentin Pitts, his wife, and their 22-year-old son were all removed from their Arizona City home back on January 10th. Members of an Arizona Department of Public Safety SWAT team broke security cameras, damaged their front door, and left no part of the inside of their home untouched. They took guns that Pitts can legally own, and he believes that action constitutes a violation of his rights. It was an early January morning.
I had on my robe. They heard them hit the door with something, and then I opened it. And then they told me, they're like, put your hands up.
Stormy Martinez answered the door to her Arizona City home to find members of a SWAT team with their rifles drawn, holding a search warrant.
Put your hands up, turn around, and they arrested me and stomped on my foot.
They were there to arrest her husband, Quentin. In 2021, he was convicted of disorderly conduct with a gun. That's a Class 6 felony, and he was sentenced to 2 years on probation. He completed those 2 years, which dropped his felony conviction down to a misdemeanor, and that also restored his ability to legally own a firearm.
I am not a felon. I kept telling them over and over. And I was like, I wouldn't have the guns in the house if I was a felon.
Search warrant records show DPS took over a half dozen guns, rifles, handguns, an AR-15, and hundreds of rounds of ammo. Pitts was handcuffed and taken to a DPS holding facility for 6 to 8 hours. He was then told he was free to go with no charges filed. But you would think with you successfully completing probation and your what was previously a felony conviction being dropped to a misdemeanor, would alert them to the fact that you're not a prohibited possessor. Would you agree?
Yes.
That's the whole thing, and that's what is so strange about this.
The guns and ammo returned 2 weeks later, but the damage to their home has remained. A broken roof tile, a now repaired front door, and security cameras smashed by the SWAT team.
And then the cops are so inept at their job that they can't even sit and research thoroughly before swatting a home and destroying it and traumatizing an entire family. I mean, I just want to see there be accountability.
And today I reached out to Arizona DPS to ask if Pitts was labeled as a prohibited possessor in their system, and if not, why that search warrant was executed in the first place. A spokesperson said they are in the process of reviewing both court records and their own internal investigation, and they said they would get us those answers at a later date. Once we get them, we will update you then. Back to you guys.
All right, Sean, what are the rules on this? Would DPS at least be responsible for the damage to the home?
Yeah, typically, depending on what jurisdiction you're in this case, it's the entire state of Arizona, the people impacted can file some sort of claim with the law enforcement agency, constituting that they believe this was caused by the law enforcement agents who executed the search warrant. They can then get reimbursed, and it doesn't appear that has happened yet in this case, and that's something that they're looking for from DPS.
All right.
Yeah. Sean, thank you.
Thank you, Sean.